welcome everybody to another edition of Good Writing. I'm your host, Dakota Shane, and today I'm excited because we're going to be covering our second song on the channel. We covered Zach Bryan's Pink Skies. I'll link it in the description for anyone who's interested. Beautiful song. And today we're going to be covering a gorgeous song by the great Noah Kahan called Orange Juice. And for those who aren't familiar, Noah Kahan has really become one of the faces of the bluegrass folk singer-songwriter resurgence that has been kind of taking the world by storm. He's a singer-songwriter from New England. He apparently had signed a deal a while back. There's a few songs that had gotten some buzz in the scene that were a little more poppy. And then story goes that during the pandemic, kind of took a step back, moved back in with his parents, and got back to his bluegrass folk New England style roots, and started publishing videos on TikTok that really captured this writing style, this songwriting style. And that's when I discovered him, actually. And it's been so cool to see him just explode, because I remember seeing a song, another great song of his that we'll definitely cover on this channel, called Stick Season. And I remember hearing the teaser clips of that and just falling in love with it, and just instantly realized how much talent that this man has when it comes to songwriting. So one of the songs from the album, the album Stick Season, that came out about a year ago now, is Orange Juice. It's called Orange Juice. So we're going to be covering that today, and I am going to be talking about why Orange Juice is good writing, great writing, amazing writing, and how we can maybe take some principles that were covered in the song and apply it to our own writing. So I'm going to link the song in the pop up or description right now. So if you haven't heard the song, I would encourage you to take a moment, take 4 minutes and listen to it. It'll really help set the stage for what we have going on. But I am actually going to listen to it right now myself. Oh man, got me. I haven't listened to it in a while. When I first listened to the song, I got really emotional, and yeah, I guess it's just been a while since I re-listened to it. Well, I guess we'll get into it, won't we? Just such an absolutely, just a gut punch, but in the best, most loving sort of way. What makes Orange Juice good writing? One of the golden rules of writing, of storytelling, is showing, not telling. That's kind of like when you are in high school in a composition class, or like take a college course on storytelling. A lot of people, like professors and teachers, will talk about show, don't tell. One of the main principles. And I think that Noah Kahan does such a beautiful job of this in a lot of ways that might, go over, or people, it kind of passes by without acknowledgement in ways. Just looking at the lyrics, from the get-go, for instance, like the first, honey, come over, the party's gone slower, and no one will tempt you. We know you got sober. Just the really, the cherubic chords, you're just kind of wondering, what made this person get sober? I'm immediately intrigued and hooked of just what happened to make this a way. It's almost teasing and not giving everything all at once, and not saying hey, this person got sober because XYZ. He's showing the aftermath of this traumatic event that happened. And another piece here is the vivid imagery that Noah Kahan uses. So down a ways, he says, instead of saying straight up of talking about this car crash, this drunk driving car crash that took lives, he says it in a more eloquent showing style of way. See the graves see the graves as you pass through from our crash back in '02. Not one nick on your finger. You just asked me to hold you. You're immediately transported right back to that. Instead of saying that, you're like, see the graves as you pass through. Down an old country road, he sees the graveyard that these folks were passed by. I don't know if this is actually a thing, but this is how I'm imagining it in my head as Noah Kahan is singing this piece. And I think, too, another example that pops out during the song of just how great Noah is at showing, not telling, is this person has become religious, as many, for the people watching, listening, that have had alcoholics and drug addicts in the family who have gotten sober, or people they love that gotten sober. A lot of them even embedded in the 12-step program. Religion is very, very closely knit. A lot of sober people will turn to faith immediately to have a sense of calling, because a lot of people with substance abuse tendencies, a lot of them, not all of them, of course, everyone's different, every human is a human, but as someone who knows a lot of people who suffer from this, the addicts that I know in my life are so full of passion and drive and stick-to-itiveness, and during their addict days they would drive that into the addiction. They would make it they would just go all in on this addiction and be like, well, I'm going to find a way to make money to get that booze. I'm going to find a way to money to get the cocaine. I'm going to find money to get the meth, to get everything. And they have a purpose. Their purpose is very short-sighted, but their purpose during this time of life is to get that drug, is to get that next handle of whiskey. And so a lot of times, thanks in part to the 12-step program, a lot of folks will direct this passion into a lifestyle, a life of faith. But instead of just saying that, I say all that to say, instead of just saying that he got religious, no, that's too easy. Noah decides to say it in a very clever way. He said, but it made you a stranger and it filled you with anger. Now I'm third in the lineup to your Lord and your Savior. So immediately you know who this person is. You know how much this event has hurt them. And they immediately have gone to Father, Son, Holy Ghost. Now, me as your friend, me as your best friend who went through this traumatic event with you, who held you, who you cried on my shoulder and in my shirt. Now I'm third in the lineup to your Lord and your Savior. So some things that stuck out to me there that of just beautiful, ideal examples of showing and not telling. The next thing that comes to mind and has come to mind over this past year where I've been exposed to Orange Juice, this amazing song, something that comes up for me is how we as writers, and whether you're a poet, whether you're a filmmaker, whether you're a fiction writer, novelist, short story writer, it's important to listen to your inner voice first and then your brain second. And I think that order is important, and I think having both is very important. And I'll explain why here. Something that stands out to me throughout this song is how important it is as a writer to always have a notebook on you. And, that could be metaphorical. You don't actually have to have a notebook on you. But the artist, the writer, always has their eyes open for experiences that speak to them, experiences that really strike a chord and resonate with them in a way. So it's always important to have that barometer of what is speaking to your inner voice. What about this experience is speaking to your inner voice? And I think it's important to take note of what experience that just happened or that you are experiencing or that you witness speaks to your inner voice. From there, second, the brain comes in to package this idea in a novel, unique way that can resonate with others and speak this idea in a way that hasn't been spoken of before. For example, friendship has been discussed a million times in songwriting and in songs, right? But how many songs have discussed the death of friendship and the warmth of friendship due to sobriety? Not many. Like I don't know of any other ones off the top of my head. If you do, please let me know. But I think that this is important because there are so many songs about friendship and so many ideas about this universal thing, but it's almost a Venn diagram that's happened here. And what I mean here when the brain comes in is finding a fresh angle, because no matter how much something speaks to us as writers, as creators, it is important to bring something new to the table, especially when it comes to these more universal, very well covered, well documented experiences. When it comes to marketability, it is important to have a fresh angle. So I always say, start with the inner voice, what resonates with you, and then let your brain and logic come second. So here, what I think is happening is, if you picture a Venn diagram, there's a ton of songs over here about drugs, alcohol, vices, a dozen that you could name right off the top of your head, dozens and dozens. Then there's other songs about love and loss over here. And then there's a ton of songs about friendship right here. And right in the middle, there is this very unique experience that Noah is talking about, which is being a friend of someone who has gotten sober because of some traumatic event and has lost and loved, and you've loved and lost together. And right in the middle is that super fresh angle and that subject matter that just hasn't really been talked about that much. And, at the end of the day, art is art. Like, whatever you want to create, there's a case to be made that whatever you want to create, you should put out into the world. That's great. In terms of marketability and in terms of finding that new piece, that new angle, it is important to find something that hasn't been covered much. And this is that. This is totally that. So how can you have an eye for elevation? When you come across something that just speaks to you, how can you find a way to package that in a voice that's authentic to you as a writer, in a voice that's authentic to you as an artist? And I think, who knows what Noah Kahan's creative process is. This might have just been something that just spoke to him and he went right for it. But he might have thought about this. He might have talked about, I want to write a song about this experience that I had at a party and everything. And how can I take that to the next level? So I think that there's something really, really unique here that is also universal. And that's something that is just replete when it comes to good, great, amazing writing. All right. Next here is orange juice as a symbol. So, man, the orange juice piece, and of course it held weight because it's the name of the track, but orange juice, I think here has kind of a dual quality here. There's the orange juice as a symbol for the friend that is giving the orange juice to the person who's gone through this experience. And then there's orange juice as a symbol from the perspective of the person who's gone through the experience, who's being offered the orange juice. So I think it means a few things here. So orange juice here, I think, means friendship, empathy, understanding, almost a peace offering. And I think here it is almost elevated and even better that it's slightly offensive. And hear me out here. So I remember, and there probably are people who are more in tune with the internet than I am, so feel free and correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure I saw this on TikTok, but it might have been, YouTube Shorts or Instagram or wherever. I remember Noah responding to a comment that someone said that was saying that this is what unsober people just can't get right about sober people. He's like, orange juice was bought for the children, and you're offering it to me as if I'm some child. Like, that's condescending as someone in the sober community. And Noah actually responded and said, that's the point. The point is that this person doesn't know how to deal with this experience and that they're just getting by. It gives the same energy as your grandpa, your grandma, who might not be, the ideas of today might be a little different, but them even just acknowledging what's going on is endearing in a way. And you don't have to get everything right. You don't have to get all the language right, the verbiage right. But as long as I know your heart's in the right place, that can be enough. And I think that's what Noah is saying here, is that the act of holding the orange juice for this friend who has been sober, and he's like, man, please just come through. I know you think we're just drinking here. I know you think the party is just about drinking. We just want to see you. Please come by. We won't tempt you. We have orange juice in the fridge for you. Please, we just want to see you. And I think that is beautiful in a way. It shows in just a few lines how much of a sticky situation this is and how much love these people have for this person who went through this experience. And on the other side, orange juice for the person who did go through this event kind of represents that, hey, these people don't understand what I'm going through, and they probably never will. The fact that they're offering me orange juice is showing that they don't even know. It's almost funny that how little they know about my story and what I'm going through and what I've gone through. Almost comical in a way. And I think that duality there is really powerful in this song, and that's why he chose to make it the name of the song, Orange Juice, because it's this symbol, this peace offering of like, hey man, whatever happened, like, I know it's just ripping you apart. And you've changed your life, you've become religious, you've become sober. Last time you were here, you were face down in my lawn. I get it. And it seems like we're those same people, right? And you're not anymore. You've changed, but we haven't changed. But we just want to see you. We just want to hold you. We just want to make sure you're okay. And the orange juice represents that mindset. And it's such a beautiful, powerful, impactful way to describe such an event. All right. And the last piece here that really stuck out to me in terms of why orange juice is such good writing is how the best writers are humans. And I think what makes this song, as I revisited it for this video and thinking about it more critically, I think what makes this song, what took it from a 9.5 to a 10, is the experience and the perspective of the person who's offering the orange juice. So the person who held the person who went through this event, who is singing the song, like the narrator of the song. Because the best writers are asking constantly the question of, would the character actually act this way? Would the character actually feel compelled to do this thing that I'm writing about? And I think the person who's writing this song, I think it adds another layer of depth that they're also like, hey, we're here for you. I know, like, I've always been here for you. I want to be there for you. I understand how bad this situation was, but are we just crows to you now? Like, are we just vultures? Like, do you really interpret us as that? Like, for, if anything, we helped you through this piece and this part of life, and we want to continue helping you. We're here for you. Why are you demonizing us? Are we crows to you now? I think that adding that piece elevated it so much, because the song so much, it talked about how, like, we're here for you, but what about us too? And I think that's a very human, natural feeling in this situation. And I think that it takes a very skilled writer, a very skilled songwriter, to write that in a tasteful way that wouldn't be super off-putting to people. And I think Noah pulled it off in spades here, which he clearly does. I recommend, if anyone who doesn't know his catalog, no matter if you're not into folk, bluegrass, all of that, he is just such a great storyteller, and I highly recommend diving into his work. So those were the main takeaways of why Orange Juice is good writing. Every episode of Good Writing, we end with a optional exercise that puts a couple of the principles very loosely into practice for those who are interested in trying to upgrade their craft when it comes to this. For this exercise today, I want you to take a moment and think of your best friend. Imagine them. Really take a moment and put a name to who your best friend is throughout your life. And if you were to bake all of your memories that encapsulate the bond that you have with this friend, what would that symbol be? It could be a certain bicycle. It could be a stop sign. It could be a helmet. It could be a box of orange juice. Take 10 minutes and write what that symbol is and why that symbol is what it is. I hope this helps ignite your creative juices here. So that is the first Noah Kahan Good Writing episode we've done. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for making me a part of your day. Wherever you are, whoever you are, I hope that your plate is full. I hope that your heart is light. And I hope before we meet again that you'll be able to get lost in some good writing. I'll see you next time.